Right, I'm glad to have you back. I have with me in the studio, I have Dr. Felix Olorunda, who is a public affairs analyst and also a certified protection professional. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Yes, and I have Mr. Victor Anya, who is also a public affairs analyst and the publisher of Prime Health News magazine. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me once again.
Yes, and Happy New Year to both of you.
Thank you. This is the first time we are seeing this year.
Yes, year 2025. All right, thank you so much. So just as we've seen in the reports that were being played, ASU, has been raising alarm and has been calling for the fact that in the tax reform bill that is still in the process, they felt threatened and they felt the bill would undermine the functions and operations of the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, which is the TETFUND, and weaken public university education in the country, and also redirect more funds to TETFUND, which they felt would deprive TETFUND of the necessary resources to function effectively. Now, I want to ask, did you see any of this coming? I mean, TETFUND came into the picture, Nigerians were happy, and felt, oh, okay, the federal government wants to, loan out money to students who can't afford. But now we are seeing, controversy coming with, the TETFUND coming in and it's affecting TETFUND. Did you see it? Did you see any of this coming at all? Yes, let's start with you.
I don't know why TETFUND cannot visit with the TETFUND. I don't know why. For ASU to say, I think ASU should be listened to because they remain the critical stakeholder in the sector. And they were the one that conceptualized TETFUND. And we see the remarkable, work that TETFUND, as we go from one campus to another, whether state university, whether federal university, you see the footprint of TETFUND all at the campuses. So I think, I don't see the reason why the two of them cannot coexist, why the TETFUND should continue.
You think it's enough to cover for the both?
No, TETFUND, because I tried to study the bill on TETFUND, and I mean, there were some agencies of government were supposed to, donate about 2% of their, profit, and to the fund. So, and TETFUND is an idea of this government, of the president, that okay, students should be given loans so that we don't have any student who will drop out of school on account of no lack of fund and all. So, I do not see why the TETFUND cannot continue to do what they have to do. Why TETFUND, who has been helping in the sector, infrastructure development, grant for training, research, and all of that to, so why can they not coexist? That's what.
But part of the complaint is the fact that the funds will reduce.
Yes.
And ASU feels that it's going down would affect, their functions and all they need to cover.
Yeah, but what I've read the remark of not just the one you played, but other, even the chairman, the region of ASU in Lagos, and they feel that look, these two organizations, these agencies can work together. Let TETFUND continue to do what they are doing, because TETFUND primarily is to make school fees advancement or loans to students, so that we don't have a situation where no student will drop out, especially for federal and state governments, universities or polytechnics. We now say, because I don't have school fees, that's why I cannot go to school.
All right, let's have Mr. Victor into the conversation.
I think with what is happening today shows that the president did not actually have a thought before coming up with the issue of TETFUND. Because before you come up with such a program, you should have thought out where the funds would come from. But with this new tax reform bill that is coming up now, gradually the funds that were going to TETFUND will now be diverted to TETFUND. That is the complaint of ASU, because they are going to phase it out gradually. By 2030. By 2030, nothing will go to TETFUND, which is not good to the best of my knowledge. So that's why the chairman of ASU, Professor Emmanuel Sodoke, is complaining that it shouldn't be so. If the president and the presidency have thought over this issue of NEFO, if they have looked at it that, okay, this is where the fund will come from, there's no need for us being told that gradually TETFUND will be phased away, because it is company that pay a portion of their profit to TETFUND to help in building infrastructure across the university. And when you even look at this NEFO we are talking about, when it first came up, I stood against it because I knew that it's not going to meet the needs of Nigerians. Because how many students will have access to that loan? How many students? And the process is not easy the way they are saying it on television. It's very, very easy when they talk about it. Those who are promoting it, who are benefiting from it, they are employed. Those we tongue it. But when it comes to the process, is it as easy as they are saying it? We have many students in Nigeria. How many of them, many that have applied, how many of them have gotten a loan from NEFUND? I was thinking that instead of coming up with such a bogus project, which cannot meet the aspiration of Nigeria, because before this government came into being, federal university students were paying as low as 15,000, each session. Today, the cheapest school fees in the federal university is 250,000 to 300,000. So, is this thing going to encourage more students to go to school? The answer is no. Because how many poor parents will be able to pay school fees of 300,000, 500,000, as the case is today, as against what it used to be before this administration came into be, where students were paying 50,000, 30,000 in federal university? The answer is that many students will drop out. Even as the chairman of ASU said, that many students are dropping out of school today because they cannot longer pay the school fees, having removed subsidy. Everything, the price of everything has skyrocketed. Today, in the university, as I've said, school fees are going up because of high cost of living, transportation, and that. So, before a government will come up with any program, I feel that they should look at it critically. But ask question, where will we get the fund from? They have set up a NEFO before thinking of where the money will come from. That is why they are now saying that the same corporate organization that are contributing a portion of their profit to TETFUND will now divert it to NEFO. That is why they are doing it in phases. With time, by 2030, nothing will go to TETFUND. That is the hue and cries of the.
But do you really think that the federal government might have just taken these decisions abruptly? Because I mean, the tax reform bill in itself, we want to believe that great minds had come together to say, okay, yes, this should, and then, which of course will also include the part of, this NEFUND and TETFUND thing we're talking about. But do you really think the federal government haven't really thought about the consequences of, bringing in the NEFUND and TETFUND thing, and all of that? Do you really think that they didn't look beyond, what they had brought out on the bill?
No, I think the objective of NEFUND is beautiful to me.
Okay.
Because that's what is done in most parts of the world.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, you go to school, you don't have to come from good, rich parents before you can afford a tertiary education. In America, you have loans and you can go, and when you come out, when you start working, you start paying. So it's a beautiful idea. But like my colleague said, maybe it's not well thought out to say, okay, where are the sources of funding going to come from? But I think that NEFUND can still coexist. And I think that's what ASU should. Yeah, I think that's what ASU, because I mean, this is best practice that has been done all over the world. It's not rocket science. It can be done because there are so many wastage in the system. Okay, you have our politicians in Nigeria. They are the one driving the most expensive SUV all over the world. Some of those excesses, you don't have to buy an SUV that is the latest, because somebody wants to serve as a lawmaker, and you have students that are not going to school. So there are so many wastage in the system from where they can get money to fund NEFUND or TETFUND. So the ASU people, I know they are professors and they are, thinkers. They can put that proposal together again and approach the tax reform, whoever is behind it, when they go to the National Assembly for when they're going to do whatever they have to do before they pass the bill, they can agitate and say, look, TETFUND can exist, is to advance loan to students, and you don't have to even apply. Because once you are a student in the trans, you only need to supply your information to the fund. The fund will go, the fund will not give money to you. They just pay the school fees to the government. It's just a government to government thing. The TETFUND get your data, you are a student of the University of Lagos, you are in 200 level, you are doing this course, there's a way they will get whatever performance, whatever, and the money is paid. No money is given to the student. So it can be worked out. I mean, it's been done everywhere that I know. So there's no reason why it cannot be done here. Because for some of us who haven't to go to the university because we are not from rich parents, it was because we went to federal university when the school fees was zero. Somebody like me would not have gone to the university. I went to the University of Lagos, first degree, second degree, because as at that time there was no school fees. So once you can feed yourself on campus, you are good. So now we need many of our young people to go to the universities, because that education is the only way you can break the shackle of poverty. Okay, so if you don't give them that opportunity and they start dropping, okay, they go to do other things and they are going to contribute point to the society. So TETFUND can coexist with TETFUND. The ASU people should sit down and work with the legislators or whoever in charge, and see how they can, think out of the box to fund the two agencies of government. Okay,
but are you okay with the part of funding for TETFUND eventually phasing out?
No, it should not be phased out. That's what I'm saying. My point is that, look, let the two agencies continue to coexist. Let's cut the excesses. We have been shouting about cost of governance. They can take money from that cost of governance and divert it to education. You don't have to continue to buy SUV for all these legislators. Where are they getting the money to do that? They can divert some of this money to TETFUND. And let TETFUND continue to do what it do, because we can see the landmark of TETFUND everywhere you go on campuses. You can see the building they are putting together, and land that they even give grant for research. So beautiful things that TETFUND have been doing, and it was an idea from ASU, so it should not be phased out. Okay.
All right. So, Mr. Victor, how do you think the federal government can balance, tax reform? I mean, so many Nigerians agree with the fact that, okay, it's probably time that, the tax system, has a new change and all. Would you advise, or how do you think the government can balance reforming the tax system while still maintaining and securing TETFUND funding?
That is why we are having a problem, because they are now saying that the same company that are already contributing a portion of their profit, to fund the TETFUND, are the one that will now divert such money to TETFUND. That is the problem. So gradually, as I've said before, by 2030, the contribution of company startup that is currently going to TETFUND will cease. And once the source of funding ceases, what happens? TETFUND will no longer exist. That was why I mentioned in the beginning of my discussion that the president and the presidency did not discuss the source of revenue that will be used to fund TETFUND. And it shouldn't be so. Just like what happened during the removal of subsidy, I keep talking about it. It was thought through. The president just said subsidy is gone without looking at the application, and that is why we find ourselves here. Government is not run that way. Even in the individual life, we draw up a scale of preference. Isn't it so? We were taught in economics that you draw up a scale of preference. You put the most pressing need at the top. Then the least pressing need comes below, because that is not a pressing need at that time. The president should have sat down and looked at it that, okay, we have TETFUND here. If I introduce a TETFUND to grant, give loan to students, where will the source come from? Where will the revenue come from? If he had done that, this confusion and cries wouldn't have been coming from ASU, because as my colleague has said, and I have observed too, I've been to many universities. I went to university too. We see the structure that TETFUND has put in place, even in primary schools. you will see it written there
yes,
that
TETFUND.
by TETFUND. So if organization that is doing such beautiful thing in a country, why should it be phased out because another one is introduced? That shows that they did not think through before they introduce it. And it shouldn't be so. That's what we are saying. So I was thinking that instead of phasing out a TETFUND, NEFON should go because it will not. It is not all students will have access to it. If you check it now, there are a lot of students that have applied. Have they gotten?
But
no?
they have large numbers of students. I mean, this is Nigeria.
Yes,
we are running
so
into millions of
at the time we are having TETFUND now, and the time school fees was low because subsidy was in place. Today, subsidy has been taken away. School fees have skyrocketed. Students are dropping out of school because they cannot pay school. Which one is better? The previous one was better, whereby we have subsidy, because subsidy is all the country, they have subsidy from one thing or the other. Why should our one be different? And why we are talking about subsidy is because we don't have public power supply. If we have it, nobody will be talking about subsidy, because people are quick to compare us with other countries that in America, a liter of oil is 20,000, is $20, is this and that. But they are not asking whether do the citizens depend on petrol before they get light. They don't depend on petrol. And even transportation over there is quite different from what we have to. They use train to transport from one place to the other. They use double-decker buses, whereby some people will sit on top, some will sit under the buses that can convey 300 people at a time. What do we have today? We have tricycle that carry only 4 people. We have Korokwe that carry only 6 people. That is why the cost of transportation is so high. So when we are looking at it, we have to look at them holistically, not just looking at one aspect that this country is paying so much. Okay, how about the things they are enjoying? Nobody is talking about that. If there is public power supply, nothing concerns me with petrol. Even though it's 20,000, it doesn't concern me. But we cannot live in Nigeria without petrol, because without it, I cannot use my personal labor generator to generate life for myself. Yourself, you can bear testimony to that. I know you, as a journalist, when you want to use your generator, you must to power your generator before you can get light, because there's no public power supply. This is the problem we are having in this country. So such a thing that is so vital to our existence is something that should not be tampered with in the name of, say, you are looking for money. But people, government officials are enjoying subsidy to be buried to the highest level. All their cars or their education of their children, their health facility are all subsidized. Why should the ordinary citizen that voted for them not enjoy subsidy? That is an oppressive system we are running. Right. If you say the citizen cannot benefit from the system, but people whom they gave their mandate to are benefiting, you cannot say that is a just society.
All right. So, in your opinion, what alternative funding options would you advise we explore to support TETFUND or even NELFUND, as it may be?
No. What I want to see is, in this part, what I find out that those in the political leadership, they don't really put their ticket cap on.
Okay.
Thinking is a hard work. Leadership is hard work. Right now, NELFUND has started. How are they funding it now? I think the president said money saved from the subsidy, 50 billion, is donated to NELFUND. And they've taken off. They're giving, and I know I checked their statistics, I think 290-something thousand students have been given the loan. Good. So how are they funding it now? All that need to be done is to government to go and put their thing, cut cost of governance, reduce the excesses of this political class, divert it to NELFUND. Let TETFUND remain. It can be done. It can be done. So those are the things that we need to see. Those are the areas I think the ASU people should come and agitate. That don't touch TETFUND. Cut your SSs. Cut your SS in governance, in healthcare, abroad, this, that. Divert it to NELFUND. You can allow the two to coexist. They can work. It can work. Because we need NELFUND as much as, look, as I'm coming here, if I show you my phone, I have not just my balance, people that around me have not paid my school fees. And I say, have you not heard of NELFUND? I just send a notice. Have you not heard of TETFUND? Okay, so people are in these various institutions, they don't know how to pay their school fees. They need, that TETFUND is necessary because a lot of people will benefit from it, and that's the way to go. TETFUND has been doing a remarkable job. Let them continue to do that job. How they find the synergy to work together is what should be explored. I don't think because you are giving 2% of those profit, even the company can be approached again, they can give more than 2%, because we saw some of those what those multinationals, what they are doing with the SSC they have. If you approach them and you talk to them again, maybe they can increase it. Maybe there can be a way that the two can work together. Maybe if TETFUND is getting 2% before, maybe they can get 1.5%, and you can. So there's a way it can be done so that the two can coexist. Not that you now phase one out because you want to have one, because we need it to work. It will benefit us as a nation. It will benefit our people. That's what I want to see.
All right. So, Mr. Victor, what would you want to see?
Therefore, it's a failure. It should be scrapped. It should be scrapped.
Isn't it too early to already? I mean, TETFUND is just kicking off. Isn't it too early?
Something now, you want to build a house. You have not counted the cost. You just lay the foundation. You are starting to asking how the fund will come for you to build a house. That means you did not think it through. That is what we are saying. You don't just start something, a project like that, without looking at where this revenue will come from. Things are not done that way now. Because you went to the university, didn't you get your WAEC first? Did you just write JAMB, say you want to go to university without getting your O level? There are stages of doing things. There are stages. Government should have thought about it. And I tell you that the era of paying 50,000, 25,000 as school fees, 30,000, 10,000 in federal university, and now, which one is more easier? My colleague said that he has been bombarded with people asking for school fees. Was it like that there? It was not. It was not like that. So it's not just bringing up a program that is making life more bearable. Now school fees 300, 500, public school, not private. And somebody will say that is a good policy. Two things. If two things cannot coexist, one must give way for the other. Between TETFUND and TETFUND is far better, because as we speak, how many students have even got it low? As I said before, it is much easier to say it on TV that people are getting access. Apply first. When you apply, whether you whether you get the loan. Okay, if you apply for the loan, a whole session you couldn't get the loan to pay your school fees. How are you going to continue with your education? You are going to be asked to leave because you couldn't pay your school fees. That is the issue. So nobody is against having programs and different institutions in place. But before doing that, look at the source of income first. As I'm here now, I cannot just say I'm looking for a house at Balala Island when I have not been able to pay rent in Ikeja or Kwebi. I cannot do that. I cannot contact an agent in Banana Island when I know that house rent is very high there. Have contacted an agent, he tells me the house rent, it is there. I begin to say, my brother, I want to rent house at Banana Island, though. My mates are living there. When I know that I don't have the capacity to live there, that is exactly what the government has done. Just to get cheap glory that they established TETFUND to give grants to people. Okay, if they have the money, why are they not saying that TETFUND will be phased out? If the money is there, my brother, will they be saying that TETFUND should be phased out? They could coexist because they have thought through and know where the money that they are going to use to grant loan to the student is already in place. But this one, they did not think it through. That's why they are now saying that the TETFUND that have been existed, that have been building infrastructure in the university will be phased out because the money that was going to them through the company income tax will no longer go to them, rather it will come to TETFUND. Things are not done that way.
All right. With that being said, let's just quickly go on a break while we get to go through our report, which will lead us to our second discussion for today. Don't